Dude, I can't believe you ate that even after it was like on the ground like that.
I know, man.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, especially after it fell out.
After it fell out, I know.
Oh, are we recording? Anyway. Okay. Howdy, everyone. Welcome back to the first episode of Texish. Not ever, but of 2023. We've got a great episode in store for everybody, and we're excited to welcome everybody back to the Texish universe.
Tito's and Shiner, gonna be an all-nighter, and I just might find her at the Whataburger line. Dance halls and women, but man, I'm wishing that I was fishing by the river tonight.
Where at, though?
In Texas. But before we get to anything, shout out. I love our intro music so much. We have, of course, as always, Dr. Pepper's favorite sponsor, or his favorite segment. And yours, our not sponsors.
Not sponsors. They don't give us any money.
Still a lot of ad space open for all of our not sponsors out there.
And you know, we do really well for them.
We do. We are doing pretty good. 500,000 views, Buggies. Anyway, who is our first not sponsor for today's episode?
Our first not sponsor is New Year's resolutions.
New Year's resolutions.
Do you make New Year's resolutions? Tell me you're a loser without telling me you're a loser.
New Year's resolutions.
Are you ready to give up halfway through the month?
New Year's resolutions.
Do you tell yourself you're going to quit drinking every month and never do it anyway?
New Year's resolution. Are you going to be the same person inevitably by March?
New Year's resolutions.
I like it. That was great. All right. Our other not sponsor for today's episode of Texish. Once again, no money, no clout.
No money, no clout.
To do this, they're not paying us at all. It's Conservative Tattoos.
Conservative Tattoos.
Is that a Confederate flag or the flag of Tennessee? I can't really tell.
Conservative Tattoos.
Is that Robert Lee's statue on your stomach?
Conservative Tattoos. I kind of like knowing that you're a racist. Conservative Tattoos.
Oh, wait, that's an actual brand.
Conservative Tattoos. Don't tread on me. More like you don't like anybody but white people.
Conservative Tattoos. I thought of that the other day.
Dude, it's funny. When you said that, I thought you meant like small tattoos you could hide.
No. Well, I think you can see where my next not sponsor is going to go.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, once again, welcome back, everybody.
This is the first Texish podcast of 2023, and I am so excited.
I'm excited, and there's momentum. There's great things happening, but at the end of the day, I'm still just having a blast doing this podcast.
Having a blast doing the podcast with my favorite person on the earth.
So much fun. I'm thankful to Pouch 6, Q6, having the space and the video and the whole team here. Creators
Huge
Collective.
Shout out to them. Creators Collective for
shout out
letting
everybody.
all this happen.
We got to end the year doing the podcast.
Yeah.
And now we get to start the year doing the podcast.
And it just baffles me that we waited this long.
A little bit. But we're here now. That's all that matters. And do you want to hear about what happened once upon a time?
Once upon a time.
Oh, that was a good one.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Time. All right. So once upon a time and our small town of the week are actually connected this week. So I'm going to just
I love it when that happens. One fell swoop. So this is the same thing. Let's
same thing. Two segments, one paragraph. All right. So Mobile City is a city in Rockwall County, Texas, United States, and it's on the outskirts of Rockwall, Texas. The population was 142 at the 2020 census. It currently has the highest population density of any city in Texas and is the only Texas city and the smallest city in the country with a population density of over 10,000 people per square mile.
Wow.
How does that happen, you might ask?
I have no idea.
Mobile City is legitimately a mobile home park.
Oh my God.
And they annexed themselves as their own city on January 25th, 1990 for the sole purpose of opening a liquor store because Rockwall County was dry. So the entire mobile home area fenced themselves in and became their
sovereign community.
Became the sovereign county. The sovereign community town
township
of Mobile City for the sole purpose of opening their own liquor store to sell beer, wine, and liquor.
That is the Texas spirit at work right there.
That is Texas grit at its finest. Yeah. After incorporation, the roads through the park were paved for the first time because tax dollars. And full-time security was provided for the residents at no charge to them. Until fall 2007, it was the only city within Rockwall County that allowed alcohol sales.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Wild.
I love that.
I just like the idea that it, like, because I mean,
how did you stumble on that one? Because usually, like, we've heard of these towns, or we know
you hear about some stuff, whatever. Yeah. And what's crazy is, for my anniversary, I was in Fredericksburg. Well, I was in Johnson City, but we drove over to Fredericksburg. Walked the town. It's
Johnson
fun.
City, Fredericksburg Light.
Yeah, Fredericksburg, affordable Fredericksburg. But I found this little pamphlet that was a small town. It was literally like your guide to Texas, a new person's guide to Texas. It was clearly homemade, like clearly some geriatric dying person in a community was like, I'm going to make a thing about Texas for young people.
Sure.
And there were like 10 of them. They were 5 cents. And I picked one up. I didn't even buy it. I just took a picture of the list of small towns.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I saw Mobile City and thought, that's funny. And I Googled it and then saw the story behind how Mobile City became a thing. And I hate that there's such thing as stereotypes, but stereotypes exist.
Yeah, they exist for a reason.
There's a whole series called Trailer Park Boys that is depicting
that life. This
exact type of person. King of the Hill even kind of goes that I can just imagine the gathering around the trash can with a fire in it, and they're like, they have the bags of Jack and Coke, like
absolutely
hiding it from the cops. And then one day Johnny was like, wait guys, wait a second. I read that we could just put a post office in the middle of this thing and then put a liquor store right next to it because we'd be our own town. What do we do that?
What do you think?
And everyone unanimously was like, yes, yes.
Johnny, I always knew you were smart.
Like that
I had no idea. You were a genius.
That might be the only time in history, not just Texas history, that like 200 people were on the same page immediately.
About anything.
Just like everyone was immediately like, you want to sell what, where? Yeah.
They're like, how did we wait this long to do it? That's all.
That's I just love the like, what do we name the town? Mobile City. And they were like, yeah, that's great.
That's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, that's our
I love that
time in our small town.
So. And that's the podcast. And
that's the way we're out. No, just kidding. So yeah, I'm guessing that
clearly the Porters didn't live there. So Gunnar and I grew up in a dry county, and there was a liquor store called the County Line,
which was in Ector County, but it was on the Andrews County, Ector County line.
Exactly. So it was just over the Andrews County line.
Yep.
And so anybody in Andrews who wanted to drink either had to join the Eagle Club, whatever it was.
Yeah, the Eagle Club.
They either had to join that,
which you had to be 21 to join that,
or drive 25 minutes to the county line.
Yeah, or 18 minutes door to door if you're going 80 miles an hour. Not that we would, not that we helped anyone.
Not that nobody.
Hey, Mom, I was driving Andre and Sean.
There you go.
Anyway. Running a small business is incredibly hard when you have no idea how to market it or brand it clearly. Small business owners, small business operators across the country work so hard to make products and services that they are proud of, but almost always hit a plateau in growth. That's why Creators Collective is here to help. For years, we have helped businesses triple, quadruple, even 5 times their revenue by creating branding and marketing content that clarifies your brand and drives sales. So if you are at a bottleneck or at a plateau, trying to grow your small business, even stay in business, make sure to visit creatorscollective.us right now. Schedule a call so we can find out what services you need, how we can work with you, and make sure that we can boost your bottom line so that you can grow as a business.
Anyway,
so yeah, who's our Texas badass?
Our Texas badass of the week. This is one of those times where
Texas badass.
This is a recent badass.
Wow.
So as you know, we had a bit of a freeze in December.
Just a slight
freeze.
Yeah, little one.
Even in our hometown, it was like 5 degrees.
Yeah, even though it's 80 degrees outside right now.
It was insane. So in Houston, Texas, a wildlife rehabilitator rescued 1,600 bats during the Houston cold snap.
What?
Her name is Mary Warwick, and she is a true badass.
Okay.
So she has been the wildlife director at the Houston Humane Society for a while, and she's been working with bats since 2019 when there was another cold snap.
Okay.
But she had never personally taken in this many bats. So on December 21st, the temperatures in Houston dropped from the 60s to 22 at night. And that type of temperature drop shocked all the bats.
Okay.
And so they just started falling out of the sky.
Were they dying or were they just...
Some of them were dying, but like they were just like falling out of the sky. Texas has an oddly large population of bats in various places. Austin being the biggest population, Houston being close behind it.
True.
So they're these really small Mexican free-tailed bats, and they just kind of roost under bridges usually.
They are legal immigrants, by the way.
Yes, they are. They are documented. Every single one of them.
It's a Texas podcast.
There you go. We got it. Okay, come on. Topical. So anyway, so she gets this call about all these bats falling out of the sky, and they all need help. So they go around, they gather as many as they can, and she keeps 1,600 bats in her attic. And throughout,
that's a little weird.
It's really badass. Weird. It's really badass, but like
you have to frame it with this wildlife worker.
If this was just a random person,
neighbor Mary is up to no good again because she's putting bats in her attic.
I'd be like, don't go over for dinner.
Don't go over to the rabies house.
So she basically she had like all these little boxes that she was putting little blankets in, keeping the attic warm. And so whenever they go into cold shock, they can't eat because they eat while they're flying, which is kind of cool. So they're just trying to keep them hydrated if they can. And honestly, this is kind of the cool part. Only a little bit over 100 bats died. She was able to keep 1,500 bats living.
That's a pretty good percentage.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
She worked all through the night. She stabilized them. It's a nonprofit. The Houston Humane Society. So check them out. I just wanted to shout out somebody who during one of the coldest parts of the month, saw something
also
needed
close
help.
to the holidays,
Close to the holidays. You could just be like, I'm busy.
Where everyone in reference to their job is pretty much like, I'll start work on January 3rd.
Exactly.
She was like, I'll go pick up 1,600 bats
100%.
and nurse them back to health.
And so I just wanted to highlight somebody who walks the walk. Because there are a lot of people I think who are like, oh, I'm charitable, I donate money, or I'm a vegan, whatever it is. And they just don't walk the walk. And I really want to take some time to highlight Mary and shout out to you. You are amazing. I am just so happy and proud that you walk the walk.
Well, and I mean, little known fact, colonies of the Mexican free-tailed bats, especially in agrarian places like Texas, states of Texas, they're important to our ecosystem because, and I could get this wrong. Sorry if I do. We'll correct
let us know later.
Those colonies, when they fly at night, can eat upwards of like 12 tons of insects that would otherwise like terrorize crops.
Well, they're in Austin, especially, they're the biggest mosquito control that we have.
Exactly.
So like, if you'll notice, whenever you go watch the bats at night, whenever they take flight, if you're actually like on the ground, you won't get bit by mosquitoes really. Because they are decimating those populations.
Mosquitoes are like, crap.
Especially like locusts and things like that. Grasshoppers, whatever.
Boll weevils. I almost said bullwinkles. That's not. But shout out to, say her name one more time.
Mary Warwick.
Mary Warwick.
Shout out to you with the
You
Houston
are
Humane Society.
The real bad girl. We are saying here right now that Anne Hathaway can suck it because.
And shout out to bats.
Shout out to bats. Alfred would be proud. All right, we're gonna do another.
We're gonna do a little Texas update.
Texas update. Okay, got him. All right. One day we'll memorize these.
Yeah, one day.
Over the holidays, Greta Thunberg and Andrew Tate got into a scuffle on Twitter, marking the beginning of this year's Special Olympics.
Andrew Tate was arrested in Romania after police saw a pizza box in the background of one of his videos, proving once again, carbs are the enemy.
It's such a cheap joke.
It's so cheap.
It's so fun. Fort Worth natives Juan Mieve and Martin Warden were finally arrested after stealing a baby Jesus from a church's nativity scene just before Christmas. But we were out of wine, said Mieve and Warden.
I don't know why that's so funny.
Because it's funny.
It's the start of a new year, and if you're the type to make New Year's resolutions, just give up now.
Nice. All right, you had another one.
I do have another one. We'll see. The Biden administration has pledged a ton of money to aid Ukraine. Said all the people living below the poverty line, thanks, we love Ukraine.
I mean, if there's one thing people know, people who live in poverty, Ukraine, a meal to eat.
Can you just imagine being like struggling to pay your light bill and you're that many billions of dollars going overseas.
I mean, can you imagine?
And just being like, yeah, we're fine.
I mean, not people who are currently living in poverty. I hope there's something that is being done. I'm sure there is government programs, blah, blah. There's probably not other perks. But even the people that just got out of affordable housing.
Right.
People
who have put in the work and are on the rise.
Who work their way almost out of government assistance.
Had to work the system.
See that and they're like, so what was the check?
So I guess sorry, Ingram, bleep this out. I guess I'll just go myself. Like, let's.
Yeah, who needs healthcare?
Anyway,
who needs healthcare when Lockheed Martin can just send some weapons?
Under-researched. I did not research that at all. It is just a joke.
It was just a joke. Yeah, we're changing the podcast name in 2023 to Just Jokes.
Just Jokes, y'all.
Just kidding. But in 2023, it is a new year.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Talk about it a little bit. Do you have any
like
goals?
So I do actually rail against like New Year's resolutions, but I do like that at the beginning of a new year, there is time for reflection on the past year and maybe changing some things, seeking out better experiences. I just don't like all the stuff and fluff around resolutions.
Yeah.
So what I do is I think about all the things that maybe didn't go my way or things that I didn't like. And I like to reflect on my part in those and how I can minimize my actions to maximize the things that I did like.
Yeah.
And I really think about, okay, what was good? And I think about how it happened and what came about from it. And I just try and do more of those things.
Yeah. So you're going to deadlift more this year.
I'm going to deadlift as much as I can. Speaking of, what I do is I set a word for every year. And this year's word is heal.
Nice.
So my goal for this year is to do all the things that will heal my back, and we'll see where else that takes me. Because whenever I dive into those things, there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of research, there's a lot of meditation, writing, journal, like all of those things.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to see what I can uncover in that kind of process, and maybe share what's going on as I look to surgery, look to rehabilitation, and kind of like start like moving again in the ways that I'm used to.
Heck yeah. I love that.
What about you?
I also have traditionally railed against the resolution
crowd
thing, and even goals are good. I love goals.
Goals are great.
I'm super driven.
Habits are better.
Goals are good. Habits are better. I like that. Because I don't like the tone of like goals are bad or like don't have goals. If I get another do this before pursuing your goals email from whatever list I subscribe to, I might throw my phone through a wall. But so the two things this year that I'm doing a little bit differently with a lot of intention is, one, my lovely wife and I spent time over our anniversary putting together a rule of life for this year. It's a long-term vision from our goal is throughout our whole life to have a rule of life. And it comes from Jesus spoke often about having a rule of life to practice the way of living in step with Christ. And it has different pillars as far as abiding in Christ. And then, what do you do mentally? What do you do physically? What do you do within your community? What do you do within your marriage? What do we do with work and money? Just these different pillars that are in life. And we set daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly rhythms within all of those pillars. And so we're looking at this year through more, all the way back to December 28th, when we sat down and made a rule of life in accordance with all these things. How do we schedule our time? It's really more, how are we intentionally scheduling our time? Yeah. Things as simple as, we both like to get up early. We both like to get up early and spend time in prayer, spend time in scripture, and spend time with each other. But we've kind of let our nightly routine encroach upon that we used to be really good at getting up at 5 so that we had more than enough time to
do all the things you want to do.
Do all the things we want to do and have a good morning before work started. And it became like, well, let's bring the movie into the bedroom and, stay up till 11. And now we're getting up at 5:30. So, we'll drink coffee on a walk. But now it's like, all right, at 8:45, devices are done. We're going to get in bed, do a gratitude list together, and shut it down. And like, not every night is going to go perfect, and this isn't going to be a rigid thing, but we've set some guardrails. And so I'm really excited about that.
I like thinking about guardrails.
Yeah, it's just guardrails. Well, and because we know, like, we have community group on Tuesdays. We're not going to be in bed at 9, but
And it's nice to have a structure that is flexible.
Well, I mean, you have to be flexible with it, right? Or else we're just going to be legalistic jerks.
If you're not flexible, you're just a dick.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say other words there, and I'm like,
why not? You know what? I don't care.
I care enough. I'm trying. And then the other thing is, and this kind of comes off the heels of the whole Leadville journey last year, and that was a big goal and a big pursuit. And it was, I would not trade that experience for the world, but I do believe that I want to do some even bigger stuff later this year and sort of down the line. But what's on my mind coming into this year from a like physical goals perspective is misogi, like that Japanese art of choosing something where the chance of finishing and success is 50-50.
Well, and I've shared with you my
own. Yours, which I will not share here because
it's part of it.
I wanted to rip Jesse Itzler's head off the other day because he shared about misogi and his misogis, and I was like, "Have you not?
Do you not understand
the third part? Is you don't share about it
anyway."
So I want to do a couple of almost like mini misogis this year, and then mini misogi, and then within the context of like physical goals, been talking about like. I just want to go do some races that are not 100 miles. I mean, definitely still ultra marathons, but I want to show up at races and just go have fun and roll a lot of my fitness into itself as opposed to 4-month training block for one race. I kind of want to spend the next 5 months almost taking myself on me dates to just go to a race. You know, burn the rubber a little bit, bonk a few times, have some fun. And then later in the year, I've got some stuff. In the works.
And you guys will get to know about that.
Yeah. So
speaking of which, I ran into Robbie Ballinger yesterday.
Oh, wait, you ran into him?
I ran into him.
You're telling me this now?
Yeah, well, I figured I might as well share it on the podcast.
Well, dude, I know he's in town. We're trying to coordinate a run.
We're going to try and coordinate some stuff. And, so I ran into him at HEB. I got to meet his love.
At the HEB?
Yeah.
How nice is his wife?
Oh my gosh. Nice. And it's funny because I saw her before I saw him, and she looked at me and was like, "Do I know you?" And I looked at her and I was like, "Do I know you?
Do I know you?"
And we didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So we just kind of like passed back and forth, and then Robbie was like, "Oh my God, Seth! Oh my God, Robbie!"
That's
so ran into Robbie.
Handsome Rob.
Handsome Rob. What's up? He's so tall.
I know he's very tall.
Yeah. And so good looking.
Yes.
I'm so mad at him.
Yeah. I hate
you, Rob. I hate you.
I hate you, Rob. I hate you.
No. So we were like, let's like catch a show or something. And it reminded me of how important it is to set your intentions and spread your community in that way.
Yeah.
Because I never would have met Robbie had it not been for you. And he's, him and his page has become such an inspiration for me, just like you have. And I think that the things that we're forging here will create extremely beneficial opportunities, not just for us, but for everybody.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're kind of working on is maybe going to come to fruition soon.
Yeah.
You'll notice we wear a lot of branded things.
Texas made supply company. Go check out their HQ. Go check out their HQ. Wednesdays through Sundays up in Georgetown on Church Street. Great place. And with that in mind, so 2023, I want to do some do you have any general cultural predictions? But for the podcast, what could people legitimately be looking forward to for the next couple months? Not even the year, just the next couple months.
And I don't want to share too much.
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't.
Element of surprise.
But hopefully you got a little bit of a hint.
Yeah.
And I think the next couple months are going to be really fun. One, because we've picked up some momentum. Shout out to you guys, the fans.
Thank you, Ingram.
Thank you, Ingram. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Without y'all at Q6, Pouch 6, Creators Collective, we've
become better podcasters.
We've become better podcasters
because they have made this podcast better.
Absolutely. So thank you. And I think a special shout out to all the people who are new listeners, new followers, people engaging. It's really interesting to see how that is happening.
Yeah.
Because we've now got collectively well over 1 million views on a lot of our content from Q6.
Yeah.
And specifically Dr. Pepper and Buc-ee's.
That was fun.
Which is really
fun time. Fun.
So what I'm thinking about in the next couple months is capitalizing on those gains and translating it into things that the fans will enjoy.
Yeah. And translating that into t-shirt purchases.
So we are going to drop some t-shirts very soon.
Very soon. We have no dates.
We have no dates.
Mine yet.
It's going to be a special partnership.
Yeah. We're dumb.
We're really stupid.
So
we're also slow.
Yeah. Slow build. It's a slow burn, baby.
So my prediction is that what will be happening is bringing value to people who watch in the form of really cool merch and starting our first series of like live shows.
Yeah.
People have been asking, and I think
a lot of people, like a lot of people are like, y'all should do a live recording.
And you know, I think sometimes podcasts don't translate like that.
No.
But
I still personally don't understand the purpose of a live podcast.
Right.
Because I thought the whole purpose was
you could listen whenever.
To consume whenever.
Exactly.
Like it still doesn't.
It's still not a
make
full
sense
thing
to me.
And so whenever I look at what we're gonna do, I see it as not just this. I see it as hosting events. So I think the next 3 months we are going to build a foundation for 1, the actual business arm, and 2, our events arm,
like a quarterly
event of some kind. And
if
so
that,
I'm
maybe
if that,
biennial.
but I'm really excited for it because I think those things in conjunction with my other prediction for us will create some really interesting connections within the community. And bring a lot of value to the people who listen and watch. My other prediction is that we will be having on guests that are not bigger, not more influential, but different.
And
I'm excited about that. But I'm really excited to start putting ourselves out into the podcast network.
Oh, are you available February 1st, by the way?
I should be.
All right. Opinionated Media. We'll be there. They record here, so it's fine. Welcome to the business arm of the Texish podcast.
No, so I think that we are going to start appearing on other people's podcasts and on other,
and confusing a lot of people's
audiences. But I think those 3 little things, 1, merch, 2, events, and 3, spreading out a little bit and really owning who we are as podcasters, as people, and
media,
and finally just seeing ourselves as valuable.
Fair.
And it all comes down to this conversation that you and I had, and I won't go into the conversation itself, but we both kind of came to this realization of what we do is valuable. And we have to own that. And if we own that,
and it's spawned from like, people care.
People care.
Which is right. And we weren't like, oh wow, we have a great podcast.
Right.
It's just like,
look, this is something that we do because we love each other.
We enjoy hanging out.
But it's turned into so much more than that. And I think there was in the back of both of our minds this thing of like, well, it's very small and it doesn't really matter. And we both realized that it doesn't have to be small and that it can matter.
If we try.
So
we're going to give it the old college
Q1,
baby. We'll see what happens.
We got an Aggie and a Longhorn. Between the two of us,
Aghorn, baby.
We can lose all the football games in the world.
Yes. A collective losing record.
So that was me talking for a while. What about you? What do you see?
So I mean, all those things, merch, events, spread, mess. It's our mess mission.
It's our mess mission.
Mission. Nothing to add there because I think that we are. Man, it's going to be weird from a guest perspective because we are already in the works of getting some people on the podcast that we don't know.
Right.
To this point, we've had the privilege that I like more than anything else of highlighting people we love.
Yes.
That we know we love or that we just want to.
One of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And we just want to talk
and
to
I hope this doesn't thwart some of the things we're working on, but I care so much more about having Michael Gonzalez on the podcast than I do
Tim Ferriss.
Especially Tim Ferriss.
But that's what I mean though, right?
Even Tom Segura. If it was, you can have Tom Segura or Michael Gonzalez I choose Michael Gonzalez.
Well, we learned very early that just because you have somebody big on doesn't mean that it translates.
No, it doesn't at all. So we don't care about that.
Exactly.
But we're getting to a point where other people that have a bigger following and are from different worlds. They have their own worlds, their own audiences want to come on the show. And that's really cool. But it's going to be an interesting transition for me personally because I'm I'm not sure how much I'm going to enjoy it.
Well, I'm interested because I struggle with a little bit. You do most of the booking.
Yeah.
Whenever we started this, we divided I will do all of the producing and you will do all of the soft booking and those things. And it worked out.
And I'm a booker anyway.
And you're a booker anyway. And what happened is we ended up with a lot of people that I never would have talked to.
Yeah.
Which I actually was trepidatious about at first, but after the first time I was like, oh, this is actually amazing.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
I love talking to people that I don't know and discovering these things. Especially with one of our best episodes ever, Mitch Ammons.
Yeah,
I had no idea who he was.
Yeah,
I didn't care about running. Could give at that point could give 2 craps.
But you love drugs.
But I do love drugs.
Seth doesn't do drugs.
Seth doesn't do drugs yet. But what I found was going in not knowing somebody and not really having a frame of reference actually turned out to be better for the interview in some ways.
For sure.
Once I was able to cross that line. So my question to you is, do you think you will be able to make that transition?
Oh, I mean, I know I'll be able to do it. I'm more just curious about what the experience will be. Sure. Right? Like, yeah, it's just back to we've had the privilege of having people that we love and adore and want to highlight.
Yeah.
And there are going to be people. It's always going to be people we love and adore and want to highlight, but it's not people
we're never going to have somebody on that.
Everyone we've had on this show, we have gone and gotten a beer with.
Right, pretty much.
We're about to transition to where some of the people that come on the show, we will never see.
Probably never see again.
Which is totally cool. That's part of this thing that we do.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be curious, like, how do I respond emotionally to that? Like, professionally sitting down, doing a dang good interview. I mean, that's what we're best at.
That's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, back to put Tom Segura in here. We're going to have
a really good interview.
So yeah, but I'm going to be curious, like, what is that going to be like? I'm really, events is what I'm probably, like, the one event that we might try to pull off as like a test run, but also as a really fun thing. I'm excited about.
I'm so
because my favorite job ever was basically being an event programmer at a youth camp.
Well, and I'm super excited because I haven't had like a project in a while. Yeah. And I'm curious to see how I do.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Too many projects. Resolution, not so many projects, Connor.
Right. Saying no sometimes. And maybe pick up your phone.
Sometimes. It's because I'm always saying yes. So yeah, I'd like, you nailed everything there. I'm curious before we let everyone go, just culturally, if you have any cultural, like in 2023, I think this might happen.
Parachute pants are coming back.
You think so? For men? Mm-hmm. Why is that?
I think that's happening. I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see basic. Do you remember Jinko jeans? The like
I remember
super baggy, couture. Like really like
real baggy. Yeah. Like where the bottom of it touches like down here. Yeah.
I think fashion wise, you're going to see a lot of really baggy pants.
Yeah, we're loosening clothes.
Which I like. I mean, I'm wearing skinny jeans right now, but I'm gonna enjoy.
See, I still can't imagine not wearing skinny.
Right. And I'm like, so I like fashion. I just do.
Yeah, he does.
It's the thing. So I'm gonna have some fun in the next year, seeing what's going on and maybe playing with some things. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I see happening for men culturally, fashion wise. Mm-hmm. But like on a larger cultural scale, I actually think we're gonna see I think we're seeing it right now, a fusion of science and religion. Okay, and I think we're gonna see. I think we're going to see a lot of people who are like the Hubermans and the people that we highlight as great thinkers really start to dive deeper into philosophy and religion and start infusing their studies and whatnot with some of those things. Yeah. And I'm actually really excited for it because I think if anything is going to like save humanity, it's going to be that. It's going to be the broad cultural acceptance of what string theory and, whenever you like, I can't remember off the top of my head right now what it's called whenever you observe a particle and that observation causes a shift. Yeah. Quantum entanglement. I think the broad cultural knowledge of quantum entanglement will come to the forefront vis-a-vis philosophy, religion, and science kind of fusing. I think that will create a situation in which our culture war can be softened. Okay. Because once you kind of bridge that gap to I am you, you are me, everything I do impacts you in a certain way, and therefore it impacts me. I think once that message gets translated through all of these great thinkers that are so much smarter and more more articulate than I am, that cultural acceptance will turn into a relaxation on the cultural war. Okay. Especially as we get younger people into like political offices, because like it or not, all these old people in Washington are going to die soon. Yeah. They are so old.
Yeah, they're gonna die.
So yeah, I think we're gonna in the next like couple of years we're gonna see a lot of younger people entering politics. So that's just kind of what I see happening. Right. What about you?
Yeah, mine very similar in intelligence to you. Kanye's going to drop a autobiography / album titled Yeezys in the Synagogue.
Great.
And
Yeezy Gogs.
Probably a new shoe as well. Right.
Do you think he's gonna design some yarmulkes?
Yarmulkes, probably. They'll be the most comfortable yarmulke ever. So I definitely think that's going to happen. John Bernthal's Real Ones is going to
become the best podcast,
become the #1 podcast in the world. Not because Joe Rogan's is like But you know,
but I actually do see him
for the next 10 years. Rogan will be in the top 5, whether people like that or not. He's prolific. He's been doing it a long time, whatever. But I do see a lane here where a podcast this year is going to, because of its newness and its goodness, is going to surpass that.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be John Bernthal's Real Ones, partially just because I really like that podcast. So that's going to happen.
And just real quick, if y'all haven't listened to the Lena Dunham episode, you should, because as somebody who also had some judgments on Lena Dunham,
a lot of judgments,
it changed my mind in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think I
had to watch The Whale twice before I realized that wasn't Lena Dunham, by the way. So
it's so mean.
I'm sorry.
Oh God, I think that was so funny.
Bye y'all.